Welcome to this clinical walkthrough on the MMR vaccine consultation case for UK MLA, brought to you by Mediate, your 24/7 practice partner. Nailing this consultation is a must for your OSCE. So, we're going to break it down into 6 key stages. Let's walk through each one so you know exactly what to say and do. First up, the introduction and building rapport. Look, your first few seconds are all about creating a safe, professional space for the parent. Get this right, and the rest of the consultation flows so much better. To kick things off correctly, just follow these 4 simple steps. Greet them and introduce yourself. Then you absolutely have to confirm the parent's and child's full name and date of birth. Then a quick, "Is now a good time to talk?" And finally, confirm you can call them back on the same number if you get cut off. Simple but crucial. Okay, once those security checks are out of the way, it's time to open up the conversation. A really simple, open-ended question like, "How can I help you today?" is perfect. It lets the parent tell you what's on their mind in their own words. All right, now we get to the real heart of the station, exploring their concerns. This is where you show you're listening and that you're empathetic to what they're worried about. You can pretty much expect the parent to bring up something specific they've seen or heard, usually online. The supposed link between the MMR vaccine and autism is a common one. How you handle this exact moment is critical. Here's a great little framework for your response. Acknowledge, validate, and then correct. First, you acknowledge their worry. You can ask where they heard about it. Then you validate it, letting them know it's a rumor that's definitely out there. This lowers their guard so they're ready to listen when you gently but firmly correct the misinformation. Using a phrase just like this works wonders. You acknowledge the rumor, maybe explain that the idea started because autism is often diagnosed around the same age kids get the vaccine. Then, you state clearly that this theory has been completely disproven by tons of research. And to really build that trust, you need to back up what you're saying with credible sources. You can say something like, "The National Autistic Society is very clear on this. There is no link between autism and the MMR vaccine." And then you can point them towards reliable places for information in the future, like the NHS website. That's how you empower them. Okay, so once you've addressed that main concern, you can make a really smooth transition into explaining the vaccine itself. Your goal here is to give clear, factual info about what it is and why it's so important. Start with a crystal clear definition. Explain that the MMR is a safe and effective vaccine that protects against 3 serious illnesses: measles, mumps, and rubella. And it's a good idea to mention that these aren't just minor illnesses. They can lead to really serious things like meningitis or hearing loss. Next, just walk them through the standard NHS schedule. The first dose is at 1 year old, and the second is at 3 years and 4 months. It's also super important to reassure them that it's never too late to catch up if a dose was missed. If you want to really drive home how valuable this vaccine is, use a powerful statistic. For example, you can tell them that after 2 doses, it provides 99% protection against measles and rubella. That's a number that really sticks. Okay, quick pause. Before we get into side effects, I want you to remember something. Watching me explain this is helpful, but it's not the same as doing it yourself. You can practice this exact case right now and get objective feedback on mymediate.com. All right, let's talk about a section that can honestly make or break this consultation, discussing the side effects. You have to handle this in a really structured way that gives the parent all the information they need without scaring them. A really smart way to frame this conversation is by splitting the side effects into 2 groups. Start with the mild and common ones, and then you can cover the much rarer ones. This gives them a really balanced perspective right from the start. So to explain the common side effects, it really helps to break them down by each component of the vaccine. You can say something like, "The measles part might cause a mild fever or rash about 7 to 11 days later, while the mumps part could cause mild swollen glands about 3 to 4 weeks after." This lets the parent know exactly what to look out for and when. Now, for you to give them the full picture, you must mention the rare side effects. This includes bruise-like spots from a condition called ITP, that's idiopathic thrombocytopenic purpura, and also seizures, or fits, which can happen with a high temperature. Be direct about these, but also make it clear that they are rare. Okay, now we're moving on to the clinical assessment. Before you even think about booking that appointment, you have to make sure the child is actually fit for the vaccination right now. And you do that by asking a series of screening questions to check on the child's general health. This is a non-negotiable step. It shows you're being thorough and safe. So, you're going to run through a quick head-to-toe checklist, just like this one. You'll ask about fever or a cough, any discharge from the eyes, ears, or nose, any vomiting or diarrhea. You'll also check for problems with wee or any rashes. And of course, always ask about known allergies and finish with, is she generally well in herself? And finally, let's talk about how to wrap this up. You have to give clear safety netting advice and close the call professionally. You just can't skip this part. This is your essential safety net. Using a phrase exactly like this is perfect because it tells the parent the red flags. They'll know precisely when they need to seek more help. It's all about empowering them to act if they need to. And there you have it. That's the complete framework for a successful MMR consultation. Now you know all the steps, but the next part is putting it all together smoothly. The best way to do that is to practice. And you can practice this exact case now on mymediate.com. Go perfect your approach and get ready for your exam.